Okay, am I back? Hey, hurrah. Let's see if I can actually change my back to my camera. Nope. Does not work. Okay. So, right. Hopefully. It will continue to work for folk. So what am I looking for? I am looking at, I want to see what's built. This seems to be all good, right? And yeah, these seem to be correct. Okay. Cool. Right, ready to go. So let's see. Remind myself how I released this one. Okay, we actually do not use the release PR, so we'll just release it this way. Just quickly make sure I'm fully installed. Bonky. Yes. Doing well. Oh, yes. The chat's working correctly now, so I will drop the Algora, drop the restream chat and move the Algora chat back into position. There we go. Right, so let's just see how we're going. There's also, oh, I think Tim, actually there may have been a few more things I should have merged. I should have merged this one. Never a problem to have a couple releases. And let's merge that. ptdev. Okay, to-do list on the stream. Okay, so basically I've been doing nuxt image maintenance and I'm probably at the end of that. despite the fact that I've just discovered that probably I should handle this and I should have merged this one as well, but oh well. The thing that I should probably do now is look at directory, like build directories in nuxt. There's and there are a couple of other things I can do. So let's do that. Let's pop over to nuxt. And there are a couple of things that I wanted to handle. So one is DevTools. So at the moment we have this sort of DevTools enabled true is a sort of default nuxt config. And actually I'm just going to set it to be enabled by default. So people don't need to explicitly put this in for the next version of nuxt. I think that would be a nice thing to do. So we're going to say feat DevTools enabled and say feat schema enable DevTools by default. I guess it's a breaking change. Actually, it's not a breaking change, it's just a change. I think we can just say enable DevTools by default. And we're going to push that up. That's going to be for 4.x branch rather than 3. And I'll have Sebastian and Anthony confirm that. But yes, then some build directory stuff. This moves to make DevTools enabled by default for cool. Yeah, nuxt hub looks incredibly promising. I would be, personally, I would be really sad if there were seen to be only one way to deploy nuxt. So I would really like to see nuxt hub support more providers than Cloudflare. Or I would like to see the same kind of, other people create the same kind of full stack approach that works on other providers. Because the aim is that nuxt is not provider tied. Nuxt hub isn't core nuxt, so it's Sebastian's project and it's a separate thing. Yes, I know. I've said many times that I want that to be the case. Okay. Let's see. Who's getting old? Right, so, okay, what else are we doing next? Okay, so basically we have an issue, I think, with prepare. So when you're explicitly running prepare, it doesn't use the correct path this is only in the 4.x branch. It's not been released. It's not a bug people are encountering, but basically this should never happen. It should never run prepare. It should never prepare the build directory. You should always prepare the sort of current .nuxt folder. Yes, Murray. Nuxt is for Vue as Nuxt is for React. I don't know how to say life skills. If you're in your 20s, I don't know. Maybe what you mean is you're getting experience or something like that is good. I'm using Dank Mono and Pale Night Operator as my theme, and you can see my stuff on my website if you want. Okay, so oh, and we don't need. Let's try this. Yeah, my day is going well. It's been fun. I feel it's Tuesday. It feels like it's Monday to me, but anyway, it's good. Good to be diving in. And yeah. What do you mean? What would I recommend for a nuxt video live streaming app? Interesting. CDUX. If you could open that in DevTools, it's very believable that DevTools might have a memory leak. Please do open an issue on nuxt DevTools so we can track that. What was not working? Oh, it was fine. I just pushed a new version. So. Yeah, Cloudflare Stream might be good. Mux is also pretty good too. Right, sorry, I got distracted there. I'm looking at, I need to look at figuring out, did I push this? Presumably I did. This build directory. So we have common and we have basically our default build directory. And what we need to return is prepare. So I want to log prepare like that. And I want to see false. So this is an odd thing, isn't it? So what's happening is that nuxt, the CLI, has a prepare step, and it's running this. It's loading nuxt. It has some overrides, and now if I put defaults, it probably would pull it up. So let's just see. Let's just see what happens if I do that. Code node modules, nuxt, prepare. And instead of passing in overrides, I'm going to pass in defaults. And I'm going to set prepare true there. Let's see what happens. Still. Okay, so basically we have well, like, my focus right now is what? Copilot is not giving it. What do you mean instructions? What are you looking for? I'm not sure what you mean. The improvements in the nuxt testing utilities. Yeah, I can take a look. Take a look at that as well. But please do feel free to open PRs if there's improvements that you can see. Okay, load kit. Oh, that's not. I'm not looking for load kit. I'm looking for actual load nuxt. So I want to. Okay, we're loading nuxt, and basically we're passing in the options for load nuxt. Load nuxt options are load nuxt config, and where are we doing prepare? Are we doing anything in here? We're just detecting it. I think we basically have to specifically. We might almost have to pull our. Of course. We're going to pull our build directory out entirely from common. That's what we have to do. Okay, so all of this logic needs to be out of the schema. So we need to move this anyway into nuxt, which we have to do for cache builds. So that will also happen to resolve this. Okay, so I think I know what we're going to do, and I think I know how we're going to handle this. Oh yes, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that will be what it is. If you're looking at if I start doing something like that, that's not Copilot. That is just ZSH, like automatically searching up in my history for the most recent command. It's a very, very nice feature. I love it. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is this. And pull everything out. So cool. So let's see. Feat build cache. So then what we're going to do is move this into load nuxt. And we have our load nuxt function here. And here. So we load the nuxt config and basically set build directory here. So what we do is, let's see, if not nuxt, if not options builder, then we're going to set it. And we're going to do it like this. Okay. And we're going to say next options router. And this is, oh no, not next yet. We just have options. And we have this is options dev. And we have this is that, okay. And instead of returning it, we're just setting it. So we're just going to do this. And we're going to do this. And we're going to do options that. Okay. So that is basically the same code, but moved into nuxt. And we should now be able to prepare the playground. Oops. I guess we didn't load nuxt. We just loaded nuxt config. So we might have to do it here. Okay, that's fine. So here we have layers, 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 defaults, defaults, and okay, we've set the root directory. Makes sense to do the build directory here. And we're going to do it in options. Perfect. We're going to have to import resolve. And we're going to import exist sync. And we're going to, okay. So we have just set it here. We know it's set. Okay. Imports are all correct. And let's try that one more time. Cool. And we just need to make sure that we've checked dev or next config dot prepare. Ooh, interesting. Oh, maybe it's after the defaults. Analyzer needs the build directory, ignore needs the build directory, and Vite needs the build directory. So we do have to have something at that point. How do we not? Oh, but we're filling it in from our options, right? So we have overrides. Oh, right. We should not carry on. Okay, so these should be else's. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so that is actually a correct fix for now. Cool. Right. I am going to take a break and get some more tea and then return. So don't leave. I'll be back. Okay. Whoops. I'm back. But I had my phone in my pocket, so you got the inside of my pocket for just a moment. Where are we? What are we saying? People are talking. Hey, Flo. Benefit of using... Oh, yes, everyone's answering ref value. That's good. Right. So... Okay. Okay. Actually, I think this needs to be moved into the load nuxt, which is, yeah. If not options builder, then we set it. Okay. Right, so this is what we need to do now. Let's just check that everything still works so we can prepare the playground. And it was a majestic pocket. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, right. So, okay. So basically what we want to be able to do is create a hash. Tweedledj, it is very important. This is a very important question. I take it with milk and no sugar. And I have my, at least if it's English breakfast tea. And I also and I also have it quite dark. I like it strong. Okay. So all right. So this is fine. This is working fine. If I build my project, it will build, and it will build in ooh. I guess not. I guess I do have to provide my default value at this point. Where is it? There we go. Which is interesting. That means kit is having to be there. Yeah, so it's not necessarily more tea, like more tea leaves or whatever. It's still, in my case, I have a tea bag. Yeah, what Tweedledj said. Okay, trying to think, because we can actually handle this. So I think we would be able to say const user provided builder is basically options layers There's a nuxt module, I think, for build MQ. Let's see. So basically, I think we can probably do this and say and do this instead. So she's on the bed. She's properly sleeping. Okay, so so let's actually just pull this out and say, wait a second. Yeah, let's pull this out and actually just return this. Make it should work. Okay, so I think we can actually revert our change here entirely. And in config, we don't need to do any of this. But we do need to capture the logic and move it into core, where we basically say this. So if there's no user provided build directory, then we can normalize it in a different way. And we basically would say, we know this isn't going to be the case. We're basically going to say, okay, I think that's what we want. So now we should be able to build the playground, and it should build it in our cached folder. We should be able to prepare the playground, and it should handle it in rats. Oh, no, it's fine, because we have to just check it here. And not options prepare. Cool. Great. Okay, so we now are able to hey, Esto. Okay, right. So now what we can do, this is the right place to be handling this. The only thing is that we have to do a couple of extra pieces, I think. So we're not doing anything in the config loader. We're doing it purely in nuxt. And this is a much more stable solution. And that is we basically use it in the schema in a couple of places. So we have to resolve the analyze directory. And also, and probably we, okay, so we want to do, I'm sorry, we want the Vite, we basically have to handle this here. So we have our build directory in server fs allow, and actually I'm just going to move that directly there. So we have Vite server fs, I'm going to stick it server fs allow. And we probably need to do that in Vite fs allow. And nuxt options build, okay, because that is going to vary. So we're going to pull that out like that. And pull that out like that. Cool. Cool. So oh, and we need it in ignore. Might be fine. Okay, let's see what happens. Your oven. So you have a choice between like computing and eating. That doesn't feel like a very good thing to. These are weird things. A whole bag of jelly beans. Where did you put a whole bag of jelly beans? Did you put it in your car? Did you put it in your coffee? Like, where are these jelly beans going? Jelly beans. Okay. Const cache ID is production. Okay. Okay. Someone in chat. It depends who that one guy you knew before is. Like, that's a very broad possible list of people. Okay, so we need to create a cache ID, and we need a cache function, and I'm going to steal shamelessly something from Pi's nuxt build cache here. So we're going to grab the code from that, and also the code from this, probably. And yes, thank you. We're going to get rid of the tarball kind of stuff, I think. And I'm terrified with this YouTube link. What is it going to be? What is it even going to be? Okay, we get rid of the, someone watch it and tell me what it is. So export, I'm going to get rid of the exports. Cool. And then we're going to get rid of the things that we don't need. So restoring the build cache, let's get rid of that for the moment. Any kind of hack we can get rid of. We can directly get rid of collecting the build cache. I guess I can always come back and use it later. We don't need a consular. So basically what we need to do is read this read file with meta thing, and we can get rid of the cache store, and we can get rid of the cache directories. So we have a few things that we can vanish from our code, and basically we want this, the get hashes function, and we want to export read files recursive. What are we actually returning here? Let's implement this a little bit more. Is that not family friendly? Okay, well, Bobby, you can be my sort of filterer of content. What's the issue here? This is not async. So okay, we have some stuff, and we want to Amazon password. Yes, Sean. Yes. Am I standing? I am standing. I'm standing. I actually never sit. So well, I mean, I never sit whilst on my desk here. It is a standing desk, and it can go up and down, but it doesn't go up and down. It just stays up. Because I don't actually have a chair, so that's you know, definite limitation to the ability to. Yeah, so it's sort of the opposite of your desk. It is not a known issue. No, Esther. There might be an issue, but I did not know it. Okay, so we are basically returning this thing, and okay, what is it returning? Read file with meta. It's returning file with meta, for goodness sake. File with meta is this, and we should definitely not do it that way. Okay, so file with meta should be these things up here. and that should be string. Data should be that, or contents. And then attrs, we have stats size, which is a number, or get time, which is also a number. So we should have those. Okay, so this is saying buffer. Oh, so it will be a buffer or undefined. Just great. Morning, Creative Null. You must be in East Coast. Yeah, no, I'm already there with Globby. I'm just refactoring some stuff from. No, the fact is that we have Globby in nuxt as in Kit as a dependency, and I'm up for replacing it with tiny Globby, but it needs a bit more testing first because we actually expose this function called resolve files here, which basically uses Globby, and the users can pass in some options. So we need first to follow symbolic links to work, and in after, which is what Globby, tiny Globby wraps. We need to have support for symbolic links. So this is the issue. So this one needs to be merged first, and then this needs to be implemented in tiny Globby. So there are some things. But for the moment, we are using tiny Globby internally in nuxt. And we're using it also in nuxt fonts. Yep. Okay, so basically, so where are we? We are here. Here, no. So basically, I think we can, okay, refactor this. Refactor, or fix even, do not assign build before in prepare mode. Okay, so now we're working on this cache, and yes, we probably could add tiny Globby. So we already have it basically in our root. We could use tiny Globby here, I guess. But we're using Globby in the rest of the project, so we might as well. Okay, so we basically have okay, so we have this build hash concept. Now, what I don't understand entirely is why we're having hashes per layer. Why we don't just hash the finally resolved config. I guess it shouldn't make a difference. I started bouldering in September last year, so it's almost a year. And I am a massive fan of it. It's so much fun. I have a whole, my Instagram is basically just bouldering. That's what it is. It's so addictive, totally. Cool. If you're around in Bonn, we should definitely go. Cuba, hello. I am looking to. I'm sorry about that. Goodness. Sean, it took me an embarrassingly long time to realize that your username means Sean at Cal, as in at cal.com. I was like, what is this at Cal? Why is he Sean at Cal? I'm sorry, that was poor. Okay, so basically we have a build hash. Cool. I'm gonna make this a bit more readable. And this is the nuxt repo. Yeah, I'm adding this hash functionality into I'm sorry, Sean. That is total pain, your right side of your foot. Okay. So we have our get hashes function. So let's just see if we can implement the necessary work to do a hash, right? Okay, so we have const cache ID equals get hashes. Nuxt. Oh, we haven't created nuxt yet. So we can actually move all of this out. We'll do after nuxt is created. This is giving us hash and sources. Okay, let's see what happens. So that has given us a hash. If I rerun it, same hash? Yep. That is a pain. Chasing a seagull, that's a very Newcastle thing to do. Very Newcastle thing to do. Okay, so we have a hash. I'm just taking this stuff from Puyo. We can update it and think about it in a moment. So I think... So I have a couple of to-dos here. So to-do, cache Vite, and so like Vite and Nitro build separately. So these are, so basically we want to somehow provide the hash sources to this function. So the function needs to accept, because basically we might have nothing change in nuxt, but stuff change in Nitro. We still don't want to rebuild Nitro. But I mean, even if we just build the thing so it like rebuilds everything, that's good. As in like a unit, that's fine. But I think there is a further opportunity to to enhance that. And that will also be true for nuxt 4 because we have separate app and server directories. So we basically want to exclude the server directory for the nuxt bit. So, okay. See you later, Sean. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to find we're going to call bundle. We have nuxt build. So we have bundle, we call this. And we basically need to say early return if cache is not busted. So we could probably do that here instead. So what we want to do is if not nuxt options prepare, and if not nuxt options dev, okay, we are going to say okay. And what we're basically going to do is say, okay, this is the new build directory. And if it exists, like if we have an output, now the Nitro output is dist, what is it, dist client. Server.js, it's that. Okay. If exists sync join next options builder that. Basically we return. So as in we have completed the build. So as far as we are concerned. So what I want to do is obviously we have to still do some of this. So I think what we want to do actually for half of, I think we can split the code here. So I think first, if nuxt options prepare, we're just going to call this and return. So Right, so we can early return for that. Second, we could handle dev and build differently because they do different things and there's some different behavior. So if nuxt options dev, then what we're going to want to do is all of that. Sorry, not that. And if it's production, we are going to want to bundle nuxt and then call build run. So we don't care about external production files. In fact, we can refactor this a little bit. So the issue is more the, do we have to wait to build on until waiting for external? No, we don't. We don't need to wait for this at all. So actually we can refactor this and make this a little bit better. So basically we would say if nuxt options dev, check for internal configuration files. Await bundle nuxt, and then await call hook build done. Great. And then if not nuxt options done, then we close things out. So we do that. So basically this is a slightly better behavior and is a little bit more consistent, which means that we can then move all of this away and move this into the build, the bundle bit. So basically we can skip bundling in one particular case. So we are saying that if it's okay, so if nuxt options dev, or this is the scenario for us wanting to bundle. So we await bundle nuxt. This is what we're doing, but we have some constraints upon it. So we can say that we are only going to bundle nuxt in dev, or if we have a cache, a directory that exists. So I think what we basically need to say is abstract this into a function and say async function get cache dir, and we basically pull out, we need nuxt, and we're going to say we are going to return whether the output exists. Cached output is cached, is build cached or something like that. Is cached build, is already built. Okay, so basically we're going to return that, and if that exists, and we can actually say return false. So we're always going to rebuild in that case. And then in this case, we have some stuff that we can early return. So we want to return a Boolean here. Oh, what's going on? Thank you, Esther, for creating the issue. Give me 1 second. I think my phone is about to run out of power. So let's see if I can charge it before it dies. This This is a total cheat, of course. Like this is my phone is being my camera today. No, nuxt codebase. I wouldn't want to think that it was super hard. Okay, hopefully that will balance. Can I check setup env? What is the question? This is, I think, for runtime testing in Nuxt. This should not apply. This is only for vtest. This is not. Setup env is not used in Nuxt. It's only in tests, in runtime tests, runtime unit tests. Oh, maybe it changed. Okay, so if not exists sync, then we can return false. And then we can, this all is good. Okay. Oh, it's async, so obviously it has to be. There we go. So basically what we want to do okay, this is probably fine. So the only issue is that it has a side effect, but or not. Oh wait, it is already built next. Okay, so this should allow us to let's try it. Ha ha ha. This issue here is that we need to write a manifest when we finish the build, because right now the problem is that we that's weird. Oops, sorry. What's that, Esther? Sorry, what was loud? Oh, did I bonk you? Bonk the mic? Sorry about that. Okay, so why is the runtime test failing? Maybe that's it. It's weird. Okay, so what in CI this is clearly running. I don't know if this is an issue with our current. This might be a problem with the current branch. Okay, whip. Let's just confirm that whether or not this test is working or not. No, okay, it works fine. So it is a problem with the current branch. So and probably because we are changing the build directory so far into the process. So that is likely to be a problem, right? Okay, so, ooh. So, right, what are we doing? So we have our cache, and we are loading nuxt. So we do have to handle the sort of partly built nuxt version. So and instead of testing for the server directory, we need to test for the final implementation. So we need to basically say write manifest in build directory. So await write file join nuxt options builder manifest.json, and we can just say JSON stringify, oops, JSON stringify that, and it's going to basically should be date is, date now. Right, and that is what we check for. I'm so sorry. Should I make it bigger? This is the problem. This is an alias issue. So basically we have builder used by Vite, which is already set up before we configure the builder here, which is based on the cache. So the italics. Sorry about that. I am so sorry about that. But I love them, so they're not going to go away. Okay, so basically, this is about the ID being set at the wrong time. Now, actually, nothing about the ID means it needs to be set as far down the line as we do it. So I think we can actually pull this out and still set it out in the load nuxt bit, which is what we need to do, I think, to have this work properly. So the mutation of the ID, I guess we just have to do that initially. Okay, so what we're going to do is pull this out. Cool, so this is actually now a much simpler thing. Okay, so we're going to stick this here. So revert the change back again. And we are going to, I think we had some code, what was it? So we're gonna have to get the hashes and then set it here. This is cached, so it should be okay. Let's try it one more time. Oh, we'll just move it to the end. Super. So basically that did our Vite client and server build. Now if we do it one more time, it should go directly to, no, it's not. Okay, so why is it not going directly to the, so let's have a look at the cache ID. And let's also have a look at the is already built. So just log it. Okay, so we have our hash. It's built false. Okay, so that's interesting. Oh, well, we still need to write the file. Let's see if it is built. So the file should be present here. Ah. That's interesting. Oh, no, it's in Playground. I love PHP. I love Laravel. I'm a huge fan, for example. I like PHP. I think this must be because we've somehow regenerated the directory. So clear. Are we basically it might be that nuxt is doing it. Let me have a check. So when we build, we load nuxt and we clear the build directory. So that's a pain, right? Cache, analyze. Okay, so we do have a cache folder. Which is fine. So we can basically make use of that. So what we would do when we were built is we would copy it across. Let me copy it back. Okay, so we need to refactor this a little bit. So rather than have a builds cache ID and then a build, we need actually to have like a build production or even a .nuxt and cache and cache ID like that, which actually means we can refactor this, make it much simpler. Anyway, so we're going to do, we're not going to have different, we still need different build and production directories, I guess. So anyway, I think if we use cache, what does our prepare do? Does it clear build do? And it does that as well. Okay, so we can safely, I think, use that as our cache. So we are going to want to okay, we're going to ignore that for the moment. Actually, this is going to simplify matters a lot. So we're going to move to load nuxt config. And what we're going to do is simply here, if we don't already have the configuration set, we can do it. So, and we're going to undo our last commit as well, because we can simplify this further. So we are going to say that change is correct. We don't need to change our v changes because we're going to set it early enough now. And what we're going to do is in our loader, we are going to say if not ops overrides prepare and not nuxt config builder, then nuxt config can be join. Common. We can remove our build directory here and basically say if val, as before, or not exists. Sync. Okay, that sets it as far as we need to set it. I think that's fine. And then here in our cache function, we are we're going to copy our dist folder across. So what we would instead do is await move copy, I guess. To join nuxt options builder cache ID. I'm getting a bit annoyed by this builder. I want my cache ID. Where's my cache ID? It's down in here, isn't it? So this is my cool. And then I'll do this the other way around. So if well, I guess I have to do it here. So basically we ignore that now. We say we pull in our cache ID. This is not quite right. Yeah, let's fix this instead. So if not actions dev, we're going to wait bundle next. Else we are going to check. So our hashes are here, and we're going to check if this exists. Wait exists sync else. Okay. And maybe we even skip the build before, right? We don't actually have to do any of this if it already exists. In fact, this is a very good point. So let me just check. So we might be able to move all of this out. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so yeah, I think we could do that here. So if not nuxt options dev, and return. Okay, so that is our best case scenario, that we don't need to do any building at all. So if we get through into here, then it means that we don't have a cached build, and so we don't need to do any of this. So we simply always bundle nuxt, and afterwards we cache it. Let's try that. Path is a direct copy. We're gonna have to, what is it, recursive? Oh, I think we still need to call, what, build done? Have I removed that from the thing? we definitely still need to do that. So we have, yeah, build done. So we definitely have to call that. Wait, nuxt, call hook, build done, and then await close as well. So somehow we removed both of those very important things. So instead we do this. So we also need to call build done here after bundle. Okay. Okay, built once. Now, is it going to build again? No. Let's just have a look at the cache. Unhead plugins. Because we are relying on the generated app. So I think we can pull this down into here, or even here. Or even okay. Okay, that was a beautifully quick build, wasn't it? So basically, we're now building without the need to rebuild on Vite. That's nice. Okay, so where are we doing that? So basically, first we are going to okay, we're just doing that simple fix. That's a schema fix as well. I should probably add the scope. Then what we're doing here is we are oh, we don't need to do this now, I think. Beautiful. Okay. Nice. Let's make sure it changes. Let's change it. Const A is high. Rebuilds. Doesn't rebuild, hopefully. Beautiful. Okay, so now we just need to be able to run this get hashes thing, but without the but with respecting the server and client type thing. So we have our patterns. So I guess it makes sense that we rebuild everything. Now, do we have a pattern like that? Why are we not using globby? I think maybe it's because we need the metadata. Interface, read files, recursive, options. We should probably use a library for this rather than just Hello again, Sean. How did your meeting go? Okay, read files recursive. So I'm just reading this. It looks to me like I might be able to change some files that should trigger rebuild, but don't. So let me just have a quick check to confirm if that is the case. So imagine I had a file, so helper file, and I did export, for goodness sake. Export const foo is bar, and I import it here. Import foo from helper file, and actually I render it, so it's totally dependent. Now, if I build that, it's going to give me a cached build. Now I'm going to change it so it's going to be quux. I think it's not even going to build it again. So I think this cache collector isn't good enough. So we basically need to pass it our source directory. So we want basically relative nuxt options root directory nuxt options source directory join okay to capture everything in there. Let's try that one more time. Okay, and we have helper file, and we're going to change it again to 34. And that is, oh yeah, that's rebuilding, which is right. And if I do it again, it shouldn't rebuild. Yeah, okay, so that's better. And this nuxt options has all of these things, including, no, that's all fine, except public. Public should not trigger a rebuild. Okay, so let's add some notes. So basically, public shouldn't trigger rebuild on of like a view, but should for Nitro. And what are the other options here? App assets, layouts, middleware, modules, yeah. Pages, plugins, public, and static. Yeah. And basically, if we trigger a rebuild of Vite, we should therefore also trigger a rebuild of Nitro. We have to. Or rather, the server output of Vite should be part of the hash for Nitro. Okay. So basically, we have our patterns that I think we need to pass in here. So get hashes, we'll say nuxt, and we'll say patterns. It's going to be string patterns there. And that is going to be what we respect at this point. Now we have app.view, and at some point let's see. Okay, that's fine. We could join it with extensions, I guess. TSX has to be a valid option. So yeah, so basically we would want to be nuxt options extensions join comma and I think place all oh wait, we might need to, right? Because this is not regex strictly. So let's give that a try. If I go into app.view and make a change, super. Okay, so I have my patterns. I'm going to pull them out. Hey, nice to see you. Dialing in from Poland. Okay, so we have our nuxt patterns here. So I'm going to pull them out like this. And we are going to pass them in from get hashes. And we also need to handle the situation of export. Okay, actually, we're going to stick them in one place. So export async function get view hash, and export async function get nitro hash. And we're not going to export get hashes as a generic, but we're going to say return, we're going to have to be passed nuxt. Same for the nitro. And then we're going to return get hashes nuxt, and then this pattern. Oh, we need our layer. Okay. Okay, so in that case, we'll need a pattern of layers. So patterns is going to be a function then, and it's going to take layer, which is going to be nuxt config layer, and it's going to return string. Oh, and it has to be provided. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're basically going to pass this in terms of that. Cool. And this is basically going to be our response for nitro as well, except that we are going to You still with me? I started 10:30 this morning or so. Streaming, I mean. Started coding at 9. Okay, so we have a view hash. It's going to be app, assets, layouts, middleware, modules, pages, plugins, public, and static. Oh. Long term. Oh, and hey, Daniel, how long have I been coding? Well, I've been coding, I think, since I've been like 13. That's when I taught myself Visual Basic, but it was, you know, a hobby. I've not been coding for a job for much more recent. Okay, in this case, we need nuxt options server dir. Absolutely. This morning. Yeah, I dived in this morning, and that's me. So, so we're going to scan the source directory or the root directory, maybe. So I think, yeah, that's the other thing we need to do. I need to handle make this extensible, because right now this is fine. That like the view thing is fine. So we maybe need to have a start pattern, and then is that enough? Layout config source root files. Okay, so basically we have to have, this is the problem. Right now we have a build hash. Okay, so we basically need some little options. So interface, we need hash options. And what we're going to say is we need to have some patterns, which we're basically going to take layer nuxt config to string. we're going to need to have hash ID, which is going to be a string. And we're going to need to have a root directory. It's going to be a string. So we're going to have our options, just pass it like this. And we are going to use the ID to give us our thing to investigate. What's that? Why is... What? And we have our ID. Okay. And we need then to set the ID at the bottom. I don't know, I must have typed something wrong. Okay, so then we're basically going to pull options patterns. Well, I thought I would just like live stream what I do on a day. And it's fun, and for me anyway. Okay, so we now have our options. So our options are patterns. It's going to be layer based. And we also need our ID. It's going to be view hash. And we also need one more thing. CWD is going to be nuxt options source directory. Is going to be the source of our thing. So we can then do the same kind of thing for nitro, which is going to be a bit different. We're going to call it nitro build hash. We're going to pass server directory as our base, and then we're going to pass Interesting. We might not need any of this, right? Because it's all going to be inside our source directory. Okay, so we basically need for our server directory, so we're going to scan that, and we also have to have our source directory be a function. So it's going to be basically layer to whatever that was. And so we're going to scan in Okay, so we're basically going to pull in And let's just check what we're doing with it again. So basically we're calling read files recursive, and we're using the globby pattern. This is basically just a more complex should ignore for globby. This isn't quite right because it's basically only reading the files that are in. So presumably you can't have any directories which are outside of your source directory for this to work. But also if you only have files in your source directory, then I think we can basically ignore some stuff. So we can basically ignore nuxt, come on, options the public, and we can ignore static. Okay, and then we shouldn't need to do anything special for all of the others. They're just there by default. And we shouldn't need to do anything special for those. So basically we're pulling in everything but those things, which actually means does not specific to the layer. And then for Nitro, we're scanning the server directory, and we are pulling in, but we also need to scan the root directory. So we also need to scan the root directory for if a file is outside. So basically feels like almost this is the wrong way to do it. So it's like, yes, if there's nothing, okay, well, one, I will use tiny globby for this because we might as well. It will help us see if there's any issues with tiny globby. So here we go. Tiny globby is coming in. And we're going to pull in glob from tiny globby. And we're going to update these to be glob. Oops, there's just one. Cool. Okay, so we have weird. Okay, so we have, okay, so what do we have? So basically, I think we can always start with a limited feature set and update it. So we should document our limitations. So our limitations right now are only works when all files are within source directory or server directory. So that's the key thing. So then we have our patterns, which is basically everything except the public and static folders. and I guess test, but I guess we ignore test, etc. anyway. The nitro hash, it should be the server directory. So everything in the server directory, as well as join nuxt options build directory, dist server. So in other words, that's going to make a difference to the thing, and then and basically nothing, like nothing that is in the nuxt folders. But everything that is in the public and static directories, but only like to the extent that these are relative to the nitro build. And we have to figure out how to scan them because they will be relative to it. So the server directory here, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Okay, now the thing for the nitro one is that we basically don't scan the server directory, we resolve it. So we always pass the layer CWD and we assume that it's in it. So layer CWD, and then our patterns are basically the server directory. So relative to the layer CWD, nuxt options, server directory, everything in that. So that's what we're going to scan, as well as ignore everything that's in the nuxt folder, include everything in here. Yeah, this question, does Globby handle absolute patterns? Nice work, WebAuthn. That is fantastic, Wolf. I'm really, really delighted to see that. That is incredible. That is incredible. And previously, I think, anyway, I think what we're going to need to do here is say, is pull in the layer, right? So we need to say relative nuxt options Okay. Let's see whether that works. Like, obviously we need a little bit more testing, but let's just see if that works. Hey, Bogdanovich. Oh, yeah, we need to call get view hash, not. Oh, it's weird. So are we not doing it here? Oh yeah, we moved it into builder. So we popped it in there. And we're going to do get view hash. And then we're going to need a nitro hash. So get hashes, if I call that anywhere else. Yes, I've called it here. Beautiful. So basically that should now work the same way for these. Okay, built, and now it should not rebuild. And now we should do the same for nitro and basically say build. Okay, else prepare pre-render and build. And effectively we don't need to do any of this if we have to do basically the same thing that we did previously. So we have this test here where we early return if there is a cache. And so we would need to do the same for our cache ID. And I guess we have to put our nitro server there too. So we have our build directory cache, and we put view, maybe. And we should then be able to do exactly the same thing, but on the nitro side. So here, let's just confirm. Okay, and we basically have our build step for nitro. So we should know that this is not, there's no prepare step, right? So what we have done, get the nitro hash, and we call the cache nitro, then we copy it across, and to the output directory, which would be just like output. So it would be nitro the nitro options the output, I guess. I guess we need three. We need output public, and Aussie boy, you are amazing, honestly. We basically need to do the same here. So basically collect it, and there we go. So we would do this. So we would pull this in. Oh, I guess we still have the cache ID. So basically we're going to create our, we're going to copy across this. But we probably need to have output, public, and dir server and public, just in case they're different. Well, let's just see what it does. Oops. Boom. We also need to add some logging, like that says that we've done this, we've restored the thing. So at this point, I should be able to modify app.view and run rebuild, and it should rebuild both. Oh, it doesn't rebuild the server. That's something we need to look into, therefore. I guess probably if I change something server related, it would probably rebuild it. Yeah, so that's just an implementation detail. And we need to log it. Okay, and also we need to probably copy more than just these folders. So, sorry. Congratulations. So we basically, okay, I'll do all three folders. So basically we have output, dir, public dir, and server dir. So let's do folders to archive. We basically have nitro options dir output dir server dir and public dir, right? And we're going to give them a slightly friendlier names so we can iterate over them more easily. So, although it's mainly the server dir and the public dir that matter, right? So basically, we're going to do that. We're going to basically, so say for const folder and folders to cache, join okay. Key value. We're going to join key and folder. And we're going to back them up in the same way. So we're going to want to say again, cool. That should be correct, right? So now the nitro hash is obviously, this is the thing that's not working. So as in we need to examine why. I'd like to log these. So get hashes, and we have our patterns. So I'm just going to say console log patterns. And we basically have server, absolute. Some of these are absolute, and so we need to normalize every single one of them. Thank you, Punky. Go take a nap. And so patterns, and we also want to. I also want to see what we're scanning. So we should be scanning that, and we want that, and hey, Bigfoot. Yes. Okay. So what we want to do is we have to normalize every one of them. Is absolute to make it relative okay. So that's probably correct for that. Everything else is already relativized. And we also need to do the same for this bit here. So these should be the not and the not. Layer WD, and then resolve source to public and static. Oh yeah, it shouldn't be build. Right, that's the wrong cache directory. No wonder that's not working. Okay, so basically we need to have distraction. Wait a second, that is the right directory. So why is it pulling in? Oh, that's the right directory. Oh no, it's not. Okay, let's see. So we're build the Vite, and also, oh, but of course it exists because it's the, so it's not the, we need to confirm not that the cache directory exists. We need to make the directory. Okay. Okay. We back? Great. Okay, so this is all working fine. Let's just try changing something. This should now rebuild both. It should rebuild the client, but it doesn't rebuild the server. So why isn't it rebuilding the server? We should have this. If we have a look, let's just check. So we have this. As node modules, we're skipping the node modules. That's what it is. So I think the key thing is that we need to put our cache outside of node modules, or should it be in node modules? So, but that's why we're ignoring it. So we have our node modules bit, and okay, so when we should have to call it with patterns. So we don't need to handle this scenario, right? And we have to call it with options. Okay, should be fine. We're doing that anyway. And I think we should just pass the patterns here, which allows us to exclude node modules if we want to. So cool. And so we probably don't want to exclude node modules because that's part of our cache key. I guess we can exclude them from here. Cool. What are you talking about? What's happening? Twitter? Twitch? Sorry about that. Okay, let's try. This should work again. Okay, so we basically should build Nitro, change it, try it again, nothing should happen. Change something in the app.view and it should rebuild both. Beautiful! Caching is working. Okay, so I'm very pleased with this, and it's a good start anyway. So, do we have any to-dos? That's all good. That is working. We've confirmed that. And we have basically cool. This feels like it's heading in the right direction, if not fully there. So we're using tiny globby. We're copying stuff across. We need to log it. So basically, we will say we probably need to do this as well. Okay, and in here we can say ooh, interesting. So, well, in a sense, that should work. That should do that. I just need to update the cache to skip server directory, right? So we want okay, and we should be able to rebuild it, and it should skip both. And we won't run this, and it just rebuilds Nitro. No. Okay. Why is that happening? Oh, because this should run first. Okay, I think basically we need to relog our patterns again because I think we're not correctly calling them. So we probably are not, we need to, of course. So we need to basically add this. Right. No, that is right. So why was that not included? So let's just log that again. So we have our patterns. Hey, Reaper and Q. Nice to see you. Okay, and also OEU. This is the nuxt core repo. And we're tackling build caching. So basically skipping builds, skipping the Nitro build, skipping the Vite build if they're not needed. So it potentially would be a huge, huge benefit. So that's very much my hope. But there does seem to be an issue here because I'm not pulling in the source files I want to pull in. So I want to see why. Ooh, hello. Okay. So we're pulling in API.test. That is changing though. That file is changing, so I don't know why it's not. That's very weird. So basically, what is normalize files doing? It is murmur hashing them. So this is very strange. Right. I am going to take a very quick break to fill up my water bottle, and I will be back in a second or two. Oh, wait. I will do that in a second, but first... Okay. This is very, 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 very weird, right? It's got to be super weird. So we basically have a hash, and I'm making a change. Was that, I see that was enough of a change. Is it possible that the single character change wasn't enough? Yeah, that's not good. That's it. Or is it? So now we have that one. If I add the question mark again, is it the same hash? Oh no, we're getting a different hash. So we're still skipping nitro, but the hash is different. So why would that be? Oh, it's because there is already a build that matches that. So it's fine actually. This is the issue is that it's not that it's similar, is there is literally exactly the same build. So now, because it's not like it only stores the last build, it stores any number of n last builds. Okay, cool. Right, so that is actually working as expected. Brilliant. Always nice when you think there's a bug in it, isn't? So, good. I'm feeling happy about this. I'm feeling very happy about this. Okay, there's one more issue. So I think we need to update this log. It needs to be a little bit better. So we want probably this like running, and I think we can use like a success or tick. We use the tick somewhere, right? Like running with compatibility version. Console info. Oh, we only use console prompt? Yeah, we use console success. Okay, so I'm going to do that as well for these things. So we have builder. We're going to use consoler.success. Stored what would it say otherwise? It says Vite client built, Vite server built, which is stored client and server builds from cache. And then we'll say something similar in Nitro. We'll say restored and what Nitro said was, we would have said was nuxt Nitro server built. Beautiful. Oh, hi everybody. Hi Nikolai, Pratika, and your Reaper is absolutely right. Build, and not just nuxt, but any open source package. Cool. Cool. The interesting thing is this is actually going to hugely improve server builds, I think. Now there is one to do. Yeah, LinkedIn has streaming. I know. Crazy, isn't it? So yes. Let's see if tests pass, right? But there's one more thing I do need to fix, which is the build directory, like where the caches are stored. So I think right now they're stored in .nuxt cache, but we probably want them to be stored in node modules cache. So as in not in the build directory at all, because that's where often it can be restored from. So let's try that instead. So instead of builder, we should join Watching from the moon. So yeah. Oh, has Algora stopped again? Algora has stopped. Sorry about that. Let's pull back restream. And move Algora up again. So there are actually quite a few jobs in Vue and Nuxt. You know, it's possible sometimes that people don't always know about them, which I think is about a this is something we can make better, right? So yes, this would absolutely speed up generation, or pre-rendering, except that right now we yeah, that's one more thing that we can exclude certain things in your configuration. But right now we don't. But yeah, it's something we should do. All right, sorry, anyway, I was going to take a break. I'll just grab some water and I'll be back. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I have returned. Hey, Rihan, nice to see you. So weird. So, okay, Rihan, you are obviously on Algora, but that's not coming through to Restream. Some people on Restream, and that's not coming through to Algora, so craziness. Okay, so, but we're getting so close, right? So this is very much, let's just confirm this does work with a change to the node modules folder. Beautiful. We need to do two more things. So thank you for the reminder about the pre-rendering. So we basically need to exclude config changes, because right now we pass in nuxt config. We pass, yes, this thing, layer config. And we actually need to exclude certain things from that config, I think. So yes, what are we going to exclude? And how are we going to pass it? So basically we say config overrides. And I'm only going to do it on the top level. So that is basically going to be a partial nuxt config. Actually, I can just do key of nuxt config, and it's basically undefined. All right. I was meaning that. Okay, we'll say record okay, that's fine, because it basically lets us say there we go. And basically what we're going to say here is that we are going to override server. So we don't care about that. And we don't care about nitro options. And we don't care about some other things. Dev server. We don't care about root rules, or we do care about root rules. No, we don't care about root rules. We don't care about runtime config. We don't care about log level. Basically, all of these things are not relevant for whether or not to cache the build. And I think we can safely exclude them like this. And then I think the nitro one is also going to have its own config overrides. And basically, we don't care about Vite. We don't care about Webpack. We don't care about PostCSS. Like if these things change, it's going to cause the actually quite a lot. We like some of these things we probably do care about, but it doesn't really matter. So basically, I think anything that we actually do trigger a Vite build for, we're going to trigger a nitro build for anyway. So like this is less important. But I think the main thing is we can change something without triggering a rebuild. So like if I now, it's going to now, I think, rebuild both because I'm excluding those from the build. Is it now going to freshly? Yeah. But now if I were to go into my nuxt config and I were to say nitro pre-render roots that, hopefully it's only going to trigger, no, it's the hash of the actual config. Well, let's have a look again in there. So nuxt config. I think we should basically ignore the nuxt config file because it's already being picked up in the config. So I think we can safely do that. We'll basically say not nuxt config. There we go. And then if we were to go in here and say, beautiful, look at that. It did rebuild the nitro, but it didn't rebuild the, but if I change something in Vite, like view, I don't know, something, I have to make it somehow different. Vite resolve alias Bob is me. That should trigger a Vite rebuild. Yeah, super. But just adding a nitro change isn't going to do anything. This is good. This is really good. Yeah, Bobby, that's true. That is totally true. More you than it is me, honestly. Okay. Okay, this is good. This is good. Okay, so we're not. Thank you for the reminder about the generate, because that should mean, like, have a look at this now. So if I had to go into Playground and I say, let's pre-render those two roots, let's rebuild. I'm guessing that's because they're already built. Let's see. So we already have output public. Yeah, okay. So now if I'm going to add another one, bar, yeah, it rebuilds. Now it doesn't do it at the moment. It can't like just build the new root, because the nitro build actually takes into account the pre-rendered roots. Like it generates a different chunk for them. H2O, nice to see you. Okay, so we're there. Like this is very close to being done. So there are a couple of things though that we do need to fix. And that is we need to hide this under an experimental flag, because this is absolutely not the kind of thing that you want to make production ready from the beginning. So we're going to want to say build cache maybe, and say that's weird. Okay, cache nuxt nitro build artifacts based on hash of the configuration source files. This only works for source files within source.dir and server directory for the view nitro parts of your app. Okay, I think this is fair. We're going to need to add it to the experimental features section of the docs. And we're going to say build cache. Cool. And I think we need to document that a little bit more in time. But for now, a little bit too cool. Okay, so we have some slight documentation. Oh, and now we actually need to use that. So in our code, we have core builder, and we basically have cache ID. And nuxt options experimental build cache. What's going on? Anyway, that's what we're testing. And then I guess we do the same in Nitro. Okay, we have to go back to Builder. I think there's something else that I forgot to do. So we're still copying it back here, which we ignore. There we go. Okay, so now I think everything is wrapped behind the flag. Why are we failing here? Okay. This is very weird. So there's something, maybe some syntax error I've put in here somewhere. What could it be? Normalize Windows path. Resolve schema. Okay, so somewhere it's where we're resolving schema for here. Oh, I guess it's that other things are trying to need to know the value. So I think okay. Let's try that again. So we're going to basically remove this if val, and it might break something else. So I need to check it. So are we saying if not builder? So this thing here, so it is going to be the default build directory. So I will at this point need to see if the user has provided it. So where am I? We should definitely move this earlier. Ooh, this is an interesting question. So console log config builder at this point. Let's just actually prepare playground. Yes, it doesn't exist. Okay, this is fantastic. Right, so basically and we know all of this. So default builder is going to be that, okay. And exists sync default one. Perfect. Okay, that's probably a better solution. So that should prepare in playground nuxt, but if we build it, it should build in node modules. Beautiful. And then if we have a look in node modules cache, nuxt, builds, we have Nitro production view, and we have, so cache is actually probably not where our build directory should be. We can actually just do .nuxt, I guess, because it's only going to be one place. So we can it doesn't need to be cached, right? That's fine for now. Cool. Cache vite nitro cool. Yes, I have a big monitor, or a reasonably large monitor. It's what is it? It's an LG. Whee. For goodness sake. Problem is I'm balancing my phone just like in front of me. Actually, I think it might. I did. It's possible that my cam link is working again. Let's see. Yes. Okay, we're back. We're back in the old way, the better way. Cool. Quickly checking. Okay, am I still with you? Oh, Matty, thank you. You've been here all this time. That's amazing. honestly, this is one of the features that I am most excited about. So I'm really, really pleased that we are actually on the verge of landing it to an extent. Okay, so let's push this up. We also need to do one, there are a few other things, so I'll just add a to-do list. Right, build manifest and clean up caches. Inspired by using chunks, significant chunks of the implementation of this. PR implements nuxt build caching, both for the Vue app and the Nitro app. For example, changing Nitro configuration will not cause a rebuild of the Vue app. For now, it's highly experimental, as it should be tested with care. Build platforms that cache node modules should be immediately compatible. But this needs further investigation to confirm. Oh, Pratik, as far as I'm aware, it was not related to nuxt versus next. It was to do with building the front end in-house as opposed to the initial build, which was built by an external agency. So it was an org decision, but that's just my understanding. Okay, so project manifest. Oh, and I think I said something here. Yeah. Hey, Crutchcorn. Hello. What a fun thing. Welcome. It's nice to have you here. And what we are doing is quite excitingly, building a caching for nuxt. So you can actually fully, cache the client build and the server build as well, and then rebuild them if needed. Now I'm trying to get my Twitch chat so I can shout out. Everyone, you should definitely go. Definitely go follow Corbin. Super cool stuff, and yeah, thank you for joining. It's really nice of you. What were you up to? What was going on in? You weren't working on caching as well, I'm guessing. JetBrains, yes, JetBrains sent me a package too. Did you get the amazing hoodie? I had a hoodie. It's so cool. It's very cool. And TanStack form, goodness me, so many exciting things coming out of the TanStack world at the moment, like TanStack Start, and honestly, some of the stuff that is out there is pretty cool. Oh yeah, anytime. I would be totally on board for that. Yeah. And if we need to have a tighter integration with nuxt, like a nuxt module, I'm there for that too. Yeah, very much. That would be phenomenal. Okay, this is. Let me see. If I remove playground next. No, that would be phenomenal, right? Okay. So yeah, I feel like we are very nearly there. Open source project for beginners in Python. I am not that familiar enough with the Python ecosystem to do that with any reliability. but maybe someone else here might be able to do that. Okay, this should be pretty fun. I can't release it yet because this is on an experimental branch, and it would pull in the entire 4.x changes. But if we do merge it, I will be able to give you a release, like a commit release, which should be doable. Cool. No, absolutely. And generally speaking, like, I mean, it's always worth reaching out to the main. I totally agree with Corbin. Generally, feel free to reach out to maintainers. I'm sure they'd be delighted if someone wants to help out with a project. If it's about bug fixes, you probably don't need any permission to do it. If it's about changing build tooling or decided like adding an enhancement, it might be that they would appreciate being asked because they might not want to take the project in that direction. So it's worth asking. But yes, do ask. Yeah, 36 GitHub Actions. Do you know why? We have a matrix to test a lot of different options. So we have like different builders, Vite and Webpack. We have development builds. We have production builds. So it's the matrix build, which is causing it. We want to test on Windows. We want to test on Ubuntu. We have so yes, the idea is hopefully we decrease those with time. We have different type check options with node bundler, like module resolution bundler, and with legacy node module resolution. We don't want any of these to sort of bite someone, so we test them all. It used to be worse when we were still doing 3.x, and actually we still have a 3.x branch. Have a look at this. We have 55 actions. I'm actually just going to do rerun branch 3.x because I want to rerun some of these flaky tests. Middleware key, and so basically I'm going to just say rerun those two. Cool. And now they're rerunning. Look at that. Okay, so happy days. Oh yes, what's failing? Link checking. Well, that doesn't seem to be too bad of a deal. Okay. Okay. Well, I think this has been a very, very successful. Oh, it's already. Goodness me, how long has this been? I've basically been streaming for something like 7 hours. Is that possible? 7 hours? 6? 7? Something like that. Anyway, so Corbin, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining. Thank you everybody else. It's been so much fun, and I'm basically sorry to immediately raid someone else, but yes, let's do that. Let's raid someone else, and I totally trust Crutchcore, so we're going to go to Finite Singularity, and yeah, let's do it. If anyone wants to join, please do, and I'm going to stick around and look a little bit. Thank you for joining. It's been so much fun, and I honestly think we've made so much more progress today than we could have done without everyone's help. So thank you so much, and that's me. Let's go and raid.